How's it going, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk all things Marvel and everything relating to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And today we have some pretty big Spider-Man No Way Home news. But not just Spider-Man No Way Home news. We have news about the future franchises of Spider-Man within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including a new Spider-Man that is going to be coming to the MCU. Today we have another source telling us that they have heard from their inside source that Spider-Man 3, or Spider-Man No Way Home, is indeed going to be a Spider-Verse film. Now, of course, this has been reported and teased a lot recently, but we have yet to get an official announcement from Sony or Marvel. Although it did look like we got pretty close to an official announcement last week on Twitter when the official Twitter account tweeted, "Writing bios today, who wants one?" And the official account for Spider-Man No Way Home replied, "What you got for me?" And then the official Twitter account replied again, "Spider-Man No Way Home starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield only in movie theaters this Christmas." Now, we're still not really sure what this is about yet. Spider-Man No Way Home's Twitter account did not change their bio to what Twitter said, but it looks like this was definitely done intentionally. Whether it was a joke or whether it was for publicity, it definitely seems like this was planned, adding more credit to the Spider-Verse reports and rumors. But Spider-Man No Way Home is apparently going to do more than just introduce the Spider-Verse. It is apparently going to set up an entirely new franchise in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a brand new Spider-Man. And this Spider-Man is a Spider-Man that many people have been waiting for, and that is Miles Morales. It was and is only a matter of time before Miles Morales makes his MCU debut. He's a fan favorite Spider-Man, and after all, he was teased in Spider-Man Homecoming when his uncle, Aaron Davis, aka the Prowler, mentioned that he had a nephew.
The other night you told that dude, if you're gonna shoot somebody, shoot me. It's pretty ballsy. I don't want those weapons in this neighborhood. I got a nephew who live here.
This setup in Spider-Man Homecoming means that Miles Morales already exists within the MCU, and we were wondering when that was going to come full circle, when they were going to actually introduce him as a character. And apparently Miles' future is big, and Marvel has some big plans for him to join the Young Avengers in the near future with some other new young heroes as well. However, adding Miles Morales doesn't mean that Tom Holland is going anywhere, despite him saying that he's taken a break after Spider-Man No Way Home. But in fact, according to this report, Marvel and Sony still have big plans for him, and they plan to use him in a way that we've never seen him before, and that is to see Spider-Man in college. But don't worry, I'll break down everything you need to know about this new report in this video, and if you're new, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Spider-Man No Way Home news. So this report that Spider-Man is going to be split into two different franchises, Peter Parker and Miles Morales, is coming from that#show.com. And they start this article off by mentioning a very good point, stating that it's an interesting predicament that Marvel and Sony find themselves in. Spider-Man Homecoming made over $880 million, and Spider-Man Far From Home made over $1 billion, the first Spider-Man film to ever do so. And it's safe to assume that a movie also starring Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield could easily crack at least $1.5 billion. Which is a cash cow that Marvel and Sony aren't going to want to walk away from. However, you have the current actor, Tom Holland, who is kind of aging out of the role, almost being 25 in real life. And you also have director Jon Watts, who is being shifted over to direct the Fantastic Four. And according to Kevin Feige on the Investor Day presentation, they have already begun to start working on the Fantastic Four. This means scripting and filming will happen relatively soon, which means that Jon Watts is going to be tied up for, let's say, 2 to 4 years. And perhaps maybe even longer than that. So according to that #show.com, when Sony and Marvel/Disney entered those renegotiations a while back that scared us all, having us thinking that Spider-Man might not actually be a part of the MCU anymore, apparently in these negotiations they wanted to future-proof Spider-Man, which is part of the reason that they're going to do the Spider-Verse. But according to that #show.com, they have exclusively learned that Sony will continue making their SPUMC films, or the Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel characters, with Marvel continuing with Spider-Man as well. That means splitting the franchise in two. And this is what the #show says that they've heard about it. They're going to create two different franchises. One's going to be Peter Parker's story and explore a storyline with him in college or university. The other franchise is going to focus on Miles Morales, and it's said that Marvel is keen to use Miles in their upcoming Young Avengers project, and they see a lot of value in him. Which of course, who wouldn't? He's an awesome character and a fan favorite. And there's a lot of hype around the Young Avengers right now, especially if you consider that we just got Billy and Tommy, or Wiccan and Speed, in WandaVision. Not to mention Kate Bishop coming to the MCU along with Miss Marvel and other young heroes as well. So it's all kind of coming together here, and Miles is a younger Spider-Man, and this does seem like kind of a perfect opportunity to bring him in and possibly have Peter Parker mentor him, which would also be really good because a lot of people are kind of tired of our Peter Parker having a mentor or a coach. They want to see him kind of go at it on his own, so it would be really good if he actually was the mentor himself. But continuing with that hashtag show's report, they say that from what they've heard, No Way Home is going to provide us a much clearer roadmap for Spider-Man in the MCU. They want writers and directors who can bring a distinct voice to each character. And the reason for this, according to this report, is because Marvel and Sony are concerned about branding. They're worried that having two Spider-Man franchises at the same time will confuse some general audience members, and having a strong vision behind each character is their primary strategy. Now they do go on to say that there are vague ideas of how to bring these two characters together for some sort of Spider-Man crossover, but that's years down the line. Right now the focus is just on introducing Miles Morales to the MCU, which again he kind of already was, because we met his uncle who mentioned his nephew, him, Miles, confirming that he does already exist in the MCU. The focus now is going to be on his introduction, and it looks like that is going to take place at some point in some way during Spider-Man No Way Home, which makes sense. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, Tom Holland said that he's going to be taking a break. Now, this does not mean that he is done playing Spider-Man. He already said if they want him back, he is 100% going to be there, and as we know, of course, they want him back. A lot of people really love Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and there's no doubt that he's been super successful with the character. So he's definitely coming back, even though it is quite interesting that John Watts is now going to direct the Fantastic Four, and in Spider-Man Homecoming, we had some pretty big Easter eggs for the Fantastic Four. One, of course, is there is now a new owner of what was once the old Avengers Tower. Now, some people thought that this could be Oscorp, but a lot of people think it's the Fantastic Four Baxter building. In fact, a Sony-owned Tony Revolori Instagram account once teased the Baxter building in one of their stories. And we know that Marvel sets up things years and years in advance. So unless this is a huge coincidence, it looks like this building is going to be the Baxter building and the introduction of the Fantastic Four, because John Watts, who directed Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home, is now going to be directing the Fantastic Four. Not to mention that in front of the building there's a sign that says, "We can't wait to show you what comes next," along with the numbers 1, 2, 3, question mark, implying that 4 is next, or the Fantastic Four. So hopefully in the future there's some sort of Fantastic Four and Spider-Man team up. But in the meantime, it looks like we have Miles Morales to look forward to coming to the MCU in the near future. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the latest Spider-Man and Miles Morales news. And let me know who you think would make a good Miles Morales. Who would you like to play him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video, and for live updates, you can always follow me on Instagram and Twitter. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.